Well, in 2003, in the summer of 2003, June, Dan got a tear in his left carotid artery. As a result of the tear, he had a stroke. A blood clot formed, and on June 25th, he had a stroke while he was at work. The morning of the 26th, they performed a strokeectomy. He was in a coma at that point.
I remember he said the diagnosis, Dr. Hammer did, and I said, do you mean to say that he's, you know, might not make it through the night? And he was like, yeah. That was tough.
So he had a strokeectomy, and in the process of the stroke, he lost his entire left hemisphere. Now that is significant because over 53% of his brain was eliminated. And it is very rare for anybody to have that kind of damage and to survive. But somehow, some way, he did survive.
Well, after Dan got out of the ICU, after about 3 weeks, he was in a bed, he was in a wheelchair, and our family, you know, we all decided that, you know, we're going to be there for him.
He was in a wheelchair, and he was determined not to stay in that wheelchair. So when he came home from the physical therapy, the rehabilitation hospital, that was the first thing he got rid of, was the wheelchair. Started walking.
We ended up at the track, the Avonworth track, and we were doing laps after about 3 months. There are 3 therapies. There's speech-language therapy, there's occupational therapy, which deals primarily with the upper body, the hand, the shoulder, and physical therapy, which seems to focus on from the hips down. And he had trouble with all these on the right side. He has hemiplegia, which is paralysis to 2 limbs on one side of the body. And there are no real language centers on the right side of the brain. So he's developing new language centers.
Every day Dan comes up with a new word. Just the other day we're driving down the street and he says, Mercedes. And I was like, what? And lo and behold, there was a Mercedes car that just drove by. Just out of the blue he comes up with words. It's awesome.
Two of the ad hoc therapies, things that are not covered by insurance, are hyperbaric oxygen treatments. But the goal with hyperbaric oxygen is you force 100% oxygen into your cells, and it accelerates the healing process.
I mean, before the stroke, he can't sit still, and he has to be the best. I mean, he was an Army Ranger, jumping out of airplanes and rappelling from helicopters. So he's a true warrior. So he's not going to let anything get him down, and that's probably the biggest thing that really helps him through all of his therapies and is making him better today.
Dan is frustrated every day, aggravated every day, and he attacks his handicaps every day, every minute. He's constantly aware of it, and he's constantly trying to improve himself. Very determined, very committed. Remember, he's a young guy. He has to get back to work. He has to support his family. And that is probably maybe the thing that frustrates him the most as the provider for his family and the protector of his family.
I think that's important to him, to be able to support his family. And I think he's just thankful to be around, just to see his kids growing up.
The 3 words I would describe my dad with is loving, and special and caring, because he loves our family and he cares for us, and because nobody has a dad.
After Dan had the stroke and we came to the realization that he's going to have over $30,000 in the first 2 years of just COBRA payments and just other medical bills, we knew that we financially couldn't handle that.
So from a practical point of view, the money is really a good thing to have. But the spirit that is exhibited by the community is just overwhelming. If you give people an opportunity to express their solidarity, inevitably they will.
For the golf outing, it's amazing how giving people are.
There's not enough words to say thank you. I mean, thank you's so minimal, but we hope that they have all come to the golf tournament and had a good time, and know that we thank everybody from the bottom of our hearts.
Thanks for helping our dad.
Thank you.